I'm Chris Carter, the Locked On Steelers podcast, and your Pittsburgh Steelers have won against the Las Vegas Raiders 23-18 at Allegiant Stadium. The Steelers now 2-1 and in sole possession of first place in the AFC North. It was a true team win by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think that's the biggest thing that you could take positively out of this game because you could say good things about both the offense and the defense and special teams. Let's start with the offense. Kenny Pickett comes out 16 of 28, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a pass rating of 108.5. Looked efficient once he got himself set. Early on, did look a little bit shaky, almost threw a pick six to Marcus Peters. But as you saw the game progress, he started to get the feel for it. His feet were under him. He was making smarter decisions, even when he was just throwing the ball away. That was maturation of the young Kenny Pickett right in front of our eyes. And it's a very good sign that the offense can take steps forward. Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren both tag teams for a decent day on the ground. Nothing amazing, but they moved the ball when it was needed. A well spread out game between George Pickens getting 75 yards through the air, Calvin Austin with a 72-yard touchdown reception, Pat Freiermuth 41 yards and a touchdown reception. Really good job spreading the ball out around there. But you can't overlook the defense that had 3 interceptions, 4 sacks, and a turnover on downs forced. This was a really impressive showing for a defense, and a defense, I'll say, that also had to put up with some shaky calls at times. When the game was starting to be put away and the Steelers were taking control, Minkah Fitzpatrick had a huge sack on Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes, there was a little touching of the helmets there, but it wasn't a forcible contact. Even NBC's referees on TV were saying that was a terrible call by the officials there that swayed the game in the Raiders' favor, on top of the pass interference call on Shandon Sullivan in the end zone. There were lots of things that looked shaky there, but I think the really good thing is that the defense did not lose their composure. They kept bringing heat. They kept staying focused. And at the end of the game, Levi Wallace getting his second interception of the game. Really good bounce back play from him after he gave up a touchdown to start the game and was looking really shaky coming off of 2 terrible games. We gave him 3 skull grades here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. But the big thing here is the Steelers look like they have a direction. This was the true balanced form of the Steelers offense that we had been waiting for all along. You look back at this game. The Steelers had about 28 passing attempts, 31 rushing attempts. That is the balance you want to see from the Steelers offense. And yes, they still didn't execute all the way. They still didn't get 30 points, still didn't get, 400 yards, but you saw some efficiency in some key points. You saw some play action that worked. Matt Canada, I even think, called a good game in this instance, and Kenny Pickett seemed to read the field a lot better than we've seen him. So really a good showing. And listen, the Raiders came out. Davante Adams, 13 of 20 on his targets, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was dominant out there. The Steelers kind of knew, hey, he's going to be dominant. You're going to that, but you can't let the rest of the team get going, and they didn't allow that to happen. Jimmy Garoppolo, 28 of 44, did those 2 touchdown passes, but again, 3 interceptions. Josh Jacobs, 17 carries, 62 yards. Not a whole lot going on there. He was fine, but the Steelers winning out because their quarterback protected the football while the Raiders quarterback turned the football over. And I think that's a huge stance for the Steelers now that they're able to come back, get a road win, building off of last week where they stole one away from the Cleveland Browns with the 2 defensive touchdowns. This is now a defense that's starting to get the credit for being a playmaking defense that creates turnovers. And if this offense can find its identity, and I think in this game, you saw a little bit more balanced play, a little bit of the run game once the pass game started to take effect a little bit. There is that back and forth balance that we've been looking for from the Steelers offense. Something I've said a lot on the Locked On Steelers podcast. This offense, if they're going to go anywhere, if they want to see complexity in the offense, you have to execute the basics. And we saw a lot more of that in this game than we saw in either of the first 2 games for the Steelers. That's a very good sign that moving forward, they can find more answers, win more big possession downs, and get the Steelers in better positions to win football games. We'll have a lot more to break down in this game. I'm Chris Carter. You're seeing me in a different place right now because I'm in WPXI studios. I'm getting ready to host the final word on WPXI, so check that out at later on tonight on Sunday. But you can find the full episode of the Locked On Steelers podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Search Locked On Steelers to find it on your favorite podcasting apps or on YouTube. Like this video if you enjoy it. Subscribe to this channel to get all of your daily Monday through Friday episodes, as well as our bonus content like our post-game reaction shows like this one right here. Again, I'm Chris Carter. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Carter Critiques. We'll see you right here on the Locked On Steelers podcast when I give you a full episode later tonight.